Alright, so, and also, Sir Resident, if you want to find any archives of these videos anywhere, I throw everything up on YouTube after I'm done. So, if there's ever anything you want to go look at, I've got way back, we're at episode 370 or whatever the hell with this thing, so if there's stuff it's higher quality over on YouTube, and there might be stuff where I have solved a problem or encountered something and painted a picture with blood in order to solve it, which might be useful. So I'm thinking, okay, so for our mushroom here, what we want to do is we want to basically create a few things. So what do we want? We want a number of point lights, we want a light color, we want a radius. Alright. So let's do that. So we're gonna have light color. We're gonna want the lit. Like if the thing is lit at all, we want the number of lights, so light number. And let's do the light radius. Alright, so light color is going to be a linear color. Lit is just going to be a boolean. Light number is going to be a float. Light radius is going to be a float. Alright, so if we compile that, we'll be able to actually default these things. So light color by default will be that. And we'll go ahead and expose all these variables. Alright, so the light color, this is the color of the light. I mean, it's obvious, but if this object is lit with point lights, default to true, light number, this is the number of point lights. Light number default is going to be 3, and light number should not be a float, it should be an integer. So okay, we're just going to do 3. Slider value should go from 0, or from 1 to, let's just have 10. I don't know why somebody would want 10, but who the hell knows. And the light radius is going to be, let's just have 1 as the default. It should go from, it should go from 0 to like 4, and we're gonna adjust it based on the scale that you pass in. Okay, so what we're going to do here basically is when we construct this object, we're going to create a number of point lights and attach them to this thing. So how do we create a point light? Let's see, create component of type, let's see, point light. So if we have a for loop, alright, the first index is going to be 0. So for every light in the light number, we are going to create a new light. I haven't done much with loops and all that inside of Blueprints. I haven't really done much real programming inside of Blueprints. So we need a local variable, which will be like our radius. Because what we want to do is we want to iterate over for every light. I guess we also want to destroy the lights on here, so we want to get all the point lights, and let's do a for each. Yeah, the first thing we want to do is remove all point lights that exist. Is there a remove component? Alright, I'll just look it up online real quick. Remove component in Blueprint. I'm not sure what you're looking for, but if you check in the Blueprint, how to remove a component at runtime. The method destroy is not available on the component, only on actors. Just call component unregistered component. Okay, so we just call destroy on everything. Okay, so we want to have a branch here. Based on this thing, it's going to be if this thing is lit, then we'll do the rest of this. So if lit is true, we'll go here and create our lights. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to calculate the degrees that we will be in our rotation. We're going to go around in a circle and populate lights. So what it's going to be, multiply, we'll have our index divided by light number. And we'll multiply that by 360 degrees. I'm not really sure how to structure blueprints that have loops in them without it looking all weird. Alright, so we want to vector off of this thing. Alright, well let's go ahead and save this thing and compile it. Okay, we got... Where is this? Oh, whoops. Yeah, okay. Uh-oh, we just crashed our editor. Well, hopefully we saved. I didn't realize the create component call was something I had written. Alright, so let's go over to our level and see what the damage was. Looks like most everything was saved. Oh man, we can't even load up the object. I gotta fix my bugs. Well, that's one thing that kind of sucks about blueprints, is if you edit that construction script, then it better not have a crash in it, otherwise you can't open it up and fix it. Unless there's something else. Oh, that's fine. I can just fix my code. So I'll recompile the editor here, and we'll jump back in. Oh yeah, one of the other things, Sir Resident, are you going to grab the Unreal Editor using like the Epic Games launcher, or were you going to grab everything from source from GitHub? Because what we did is we grabbed everything from GitHub, and that's been really, I think, the right call. We've been able to go in and fix bugs and all sorts of stuff. Like just yesterday we had problems with shading. Basically shadows, it doesn't render shadows for reflections, and that was completely screwing some crap up. So that fix is in the 4.17 branch, and so we were able to go look that up on their code in GitHub, and then grab that change and then bring it in, even though that change isn't going to be live to customers for another like 2 months or something. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Grabbing it from GitHub is not very difficult. The only thing is, if you're not experienced with merging in subsequent revisions, it can be painful if you don't know what you're doing there. So, also Git doesn't really play too well with a lot of binary assets and large assets, and Git LFS, the large files system, doesn't really work with a lot of tools yet. So, unless you're engineering savvy, you may have some problems. Alright, I'm going to see if there's a way to add component in blueprint construction script. How do I add components in the construction script? Because I'd rather use the Unreal method for this. I found a solution. Instead of creating new components in construction script, I create sub-object in constructor and then just select proper mesh in the construction script. Well, let's grab our owner here. So let's see if this works. So we've got our light color. Nah, it's the light color default is wrong. You can't draw realistic, so it's going to be like cartoonish. Hey, that'll look fine. We're going to be messing around with toon shading and stuff like that probably once I finish a lot of this other stuff off, so. This is how big the light radius is. So we will see. Alright, the light color needs to not be that. It needs to have a 1 for the alpha. Default should be true. Create component should create a component. Alright, so we are going to name this component Light 1. God, this thing's getting pretty ugly. So let's see, is create component actually getting called here? Yeah, it is. Okay, so the actor is null. So we're just returning null. This is not the right way to create things. You can do every part with its own sprite. Well, that's going to be kind of a complicated amalgamation if every body part is its own sprite. But I would assume with a game like yours, you're going to have all sorts of different pieces and parts that you need to put on, like different hats and shirts and shotguns. So you're going to have a pretty complex character system. So let's Google this again. Create. I mean, should I be creating a child actor? That's a point light. Alright, okay, so they already have a point light component set up for us like this. Awesome. That's what we wanna use this. Alright, add point light component. And there's something that we should have. It's you have to. Alright, so we want select the add build and copies. You can't see the components created dynamically because you have to go to your editor preferences, blueprint editor, hide construction script components. Alright, so it's editor preferences. Alright, so I need to... Well, Sir Resident, I would always recommend doing the simple version first. And if that works, it works, and you haven't wasted a whole bunch of time. And if it doesn't work, then you didn't waste that much time. And you can go do it more realistically. Alright, so where is this editor preferences? There it is. Editor preferences, we're looking for blueprint editor. Hide construction script components and details view. Let's uncheck that. Alright, here we go. So now we see that we have a billboard component. How in the hell did we add a billboard component? What? Add point light component inherited, billboard component, a 2D texture that'll be... What? Oh, okay. Maybe this billboard component is the actual... No, there's... How in the hell did that get added? Maybe the 2D... I don't freaking know. Relative transform. The relative transform between the new component's attached parent. Okay, so we want a want to rotate a vector by an angle. So we like create rotator. Alright, so yeah, we want to make a rotator, and I think it's the yaw is basically what we're going to do. So make a rotator, we're going to rotate this vector, which is this thing. And we want the magnitude of this vector to be we want to get the scale. Get world scale. Alright, so we got our rotated vector here. And it's going to be the world scale divided by 100. Yeah, we'll just see how that looks. And we can't really see anything on this. Yeah, let's see if we even have to do this like get component by class thing. Let's just bypass it real quick. Let's see if we add a point light component kind of on it, and we change like our default root here for our light number. We'll just like set our light number to 3 to start with. I can't believe it's not zero based. Like last index, I actually have to do like a -1 here for this to... Oh, that is so stupid. Oh my god. The for loop is a less than equals to. That's lame. Alright, so we have this point light. It's the... We need to have this thing actually pretty far out there, is what it looks like. So our construction script should take that into account. Okay, so it's going to be the scale. The scale of this thing is going to be 1. So we're going to want to multiply. Alright, you can see our point lights are getting created here. They're not far enough out, I think. So let's go to our construction script and it's 200? A little bit farther. This is the cool thing about blueprints is you can very quickly iterate on stuff like this and do all the cool stuff. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to set our variables properly on this thing. So we've got our point light component, we've got it in the right spot. Now we need to set the color for it. So let's grab the color. Set color? Is there a... set light color? There we go. Alright, so we'll set the light color. We want to... use inverse square fall off. Alright, so... can we set this value? Alright, let's change this to a point light component. Alright, so we set the light color, and we're going to want to set the inverse square thing here. We want this. We want it. Can we actually set this thing? So we got our light. I mean, why the hell can't we set this thing? Let's take a look at it. Is there a point light component.h? Yeah, here we go. Alright, so we have a U property, attenuation, blueprint read only. Why the hell are these only read only? And this is another reason to grab the source for Unreal. Just been like, you know what? Come on, Unreal. Why can't I edit a point light component at runtime in blueprints? I should be able to do that. Like, give me a break. So we can just, write this in here, and I'll shut down the editor real quick and compile that. And then we'll be able to, actually construct our frickin' object properly. So as we have changed a header file, we will need to recompile all the things that rely on that header file. So that means we're just gonna sit here and wait until it's done, and I'll complain about it. Why does compiling take so long? Oh yeah, it's because I didn't set up all the headers properly, so I include everything everywhere, and then I have to rebuild everything because I am a lazy bastard. Oh yeah, that's why. And the reason I'm just doing a one-line thing right here is because this is a change to core code. I'd rather keep it as small as possible, even though it's not nearly as readable as something else. Just because now it'll just be a one-line diff inside of that. Is chat censored for, like, I'm not Mr. Twitch expert. Is chat being censored because of a channel setting, or is it because my account is in kitty mode and I don't see swear words in chat just because I haven't unchecked that for myself? Might have kitty mode on. Where is that damn thing? I'm looking it up real quick here. Mature content. You may. Yeah, we're gonna broadcast all the nudity here. Sorry about that. Let's see. Chat options, automated. Yeah, we said we have nothing's filtered on there. Global profanity filter is a thing, and it's inside of channel and videos. What? I see. So it's like opt out of commonly blocked terms. So let's see. Let's just see if that. Maybe that did it. There we go. That you can now say swear words in chat and all that. I remember like we were trying to do a profanity filter thing at Electronic Arts one time for our game, where you'd be chatting with other people in a MOBA game, Dawngate, and the so I was the server engineer, so of course I was going to be messing around with the chat, and I hooked up the EA global profanity filter thing, which is like you're supposed to do standard Electronic Arts thing, and it just blocked like every damn word ever. Like people couldn't even have a normal goddamn conversation because everything got cut. It was really funny because these are just normal office banter. People playing games. Like literally, everybody's getting blocked, and it only took I think like one day, and they're like, just turn off the goddamn profanity filter. And I was like, no problem. It's one of those things. It's one of those fights. Like it doesn't matter. Like there are bad words in the world. I don't give a shit. It's the internet. You should be beyond that sort of stuff at this point. Alright, so let's go back to our test level. And let's go into our test content for our mushroom. Alright, so we got our point light, and we want to what was that called that I just added? It was set use inverse square fall off. I'll put that as false. Alright, we're starting to get some glow going on. And we're going to want to set the radius on this to something multiplied by it. So we want like I'm actually going to throw this construction script off on another thing here. So I'm going to be able to look at this mushroom and at the same time mess with its scripts. Yeah, there are so many worse things you can do than swear. It's very true. Like stub your toe. God, stubbing your toe sucks. I stubbed my toe last week. I was fishing with my dad, and like I walked over, to the other side of the boat, and I stubbed my toe on a little grommet on the ground, and like nearly ripped the nail off of my foot. I was bleeding everywhere. And it's a fishing boat too, so like I just threw some duct tape on that, and that was fine. But man, stubbing your toe sucks. So let's see, we want to set the attenuation. What is the actual name of this thing? It's the attenuation radius. Alright. Yeah, okay, so we want to set the attenuation radius of this thing. And I like to use these local variables for stuff because otherwise you'd have to have like this line dragging all over the place. It just looks like shit. Alright, so the attenuation radius is going to be, I think our scale multiplied by 1,000 or something like that. So So let's grab our scale multiplied by 1,000. Let's just snag our scale to start with over here. So let's make a local variable. We'll just call it scale. That would be a float. Snag it over here. So let's snag this stuff, throw it over here. Alright, so we want to set the scale. Right there. So we got our scale times 400, and we'll get our scale times 1,000. Alright, so what it's looking like at the moment is it looks like that. Oh god. Oh god, why is it pink? What the hell did I do? That's not supposed to do that, is it? I wonder if it's my graphics card failing. Stream goes down, everything explodes. You broke your middle... Yeah, what is that? The pink? I don't know. It's probably just some uninitialized garbage somewhere. Alright, so we're going to want to set the intensity to the light. Oh yeah, we need to multiply the light radius right in here. I'm actually going to throw this back in here. Can we do both? Oh, that's cool. I like that. So we can do side by side. Cool. So I want light radius multiplied by 1,000 multiplied by scale, like so. Actually, what I can do is, instead of doing that crap, I can just do this. Like that. I'm learning things. Alright, the next thing we need to set is the intensity. Alright. So we'll snag this, set the intensity, and let's go ahead and set that to the light intensity. We'll make a new variable here. Call it light brights. Throw it up there. Slider range, we'll do it from 0 to 10,000. Default of 500. So let's grab our brightness. Throw it right in there. Alright, we'll just delete this other point light that's off in the middle of nowhere. Compile that, save it, and let's mess with this. Alright, well, let's mess with it a little bit more. Let's add we have a light radius on this thing, which is 0 to 4. Is the light radius? Yeah, okay, so that's light radius. I need a light location. It's like, it's the radius. I guess light offset would be a better word for it. We basically want to make a value that we multiply by this guy right here. Which will move the lights away from the center of the base. And let's compile it. This one should be, I should set it at 1, and it should go from 0 to maybe 10. So it looks like this. Alright, and some other settings that we're going to want to mess with here is casting shadows. Set cast shadows to false, because we don't want shadows on this stuff. Now, the question that I have here is, like, say we stick this into the ground, we still want this area to be lit up, so we want we want to offset these lights into the air a little bit. Like, we want them to not be strictly on the base, we want it to be a little bit up. So we got the rotator, we've got all this, we've rotated our vector. So which direction is up? Up is Z. Okay, so we want the Z to be we'll grab our scale and we'll multiply it by 400. And let's actually add a pin here. And let's have our light base offset. Alright, so the light offset is the distance from the mushroom to its lights, and the light base offset is how far off the base of the mushroom the lights are. Alright, so if we compile this, the base should be default of 1, slider range should go from 0 to 4, or I guess it should go from 0 to 1. Yeah, 0 to 4 are fine. That's fine with me. Default of 2, 3. Alright, so light radius. So we can mess around with a lot of stuff like that. And let's see if we scale this guy. He does scale up. As you would kind of expect it to. So he can have, you know, like little mushrooms like that, and totally works. Yeah, went off on a huge tangent to make the mushroom. Works though. These are point lights, and we should be able to make these guys static. And all this stuff static, so we should basically be able to have just tons of these things. And let's run a quick experiment here and see if I can do this. But can I actually paint on this foliage as foliage? I guess we can only add meshes to things. Let's see if that's true. Yeah, is it possible to place blueprints with the foliage tool? For now you can't do that, but it's a